Welcome back to playing tribute to Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Trials and Tribulations. We have just started Recipe for Turnabout, met our wacky characters of the trial, and we're going to jump into trial soon, or right now, actually. Last we left off, we had been doing some investigation. Our client is Maggey Bird, once again. And we are here to prove that she is innocent of this crime of poisoning Glenn Elg's coffee, even though she was already found guilty, thanks to my phony, as we've been calling him. So let's jump right in. I see. I guess I should have expected this. Nobody saw the other guy, huh? But he was there when I took the coffee over, sir. Scout's honor. Maggey! Detective Gumshoe! Are you doing all right? How are you feeling? As if you need to ask either question, sir. Don't let him get you down, Maggey. And don't forget to eat well, okay? Roger. And you. Yes? You better square this case away, got it, pal? Maggey's innocent, you hear? If you screw up, then I'll be doing some squaring away myself. Squaring away some paperwork for your arrest. I think he's serious. Hey, detective, you're on our side for once, right? Yep. So you'll be able to help Maggey out, right? Really? Can you, sir? Of course. I've got the situation under control. I'm gonna be the first witness on the stand today. If something I say doesn't mesh with the facts, make sure you point it out, alright? Sure. Okay, we're forming a united front today, pal. You get me? I can't tell you how grateful I am, sir. I've always admired you so much, detective. I know I can count on you. Looks like it should all go pretty smoothly today, huh? I can only wish. Yeah, usually it doesn't go so smoothly for us, especially in a case this late into the game. Court is now in session for the trial of Maggey Bird. The defense is ready, Your Honor. And he's got his coffee, so I'm sure he's ready too. The first sip. Bitter. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? What's wrong? Nothing, it's just whenever I addressed you at the previous trial, your response was, "You's talking to me?" It was a little, intimidating. Oh yeah, we also met our phony last time? So, yeah. No, that wasn't me. That was the phony Phoenix. I see. So our trusty Phoenix Wright is back with us now, is he? Our trusty? So, Mr. Godot, your opening statement, please. Mr. Trite, whether you're a fake or the real deal, we will find out soon enough through this trial today. But I can already tell you I'm the real Phoenix Wright. I wasn't questioning whether you are Phoenix Wright or not. I was questioning whether you had studied law or not. Wow. That's what I intend to find out. There's no denying it. Behind that mask is a man who really hates me for some reason or another. As everyone is aware, the court has already given its verdict on this case once. Therefore, I won't stand for irrelevant testimony during this retrial. Nor will I stand for a simple repetition of the evidence presented in the last trial. I'm not planning on repeating anything that phony me said, trust me. Now then, Mr. Godot, please summon your first witness. He looks so sad. The puppy dog eyes, though. Man. Let's start with formalities, shall we? Name and occupation. Witness, state your name for the court. Oh, sorry, sir. The name's Police Department Detective. Occupation, Dick Gumshoe. Gumshoe. Other way around, detective. Huh? Oh, sorry. Anyway, I'm the officer in charge of this case since yesterday, sir. Since yesterday? Yeah, the guy who was on the initial investigation's tied up with another case now. I hope Gumshoe's really got everything under control, for everyone's sake. I see. So, Detective Gumshoe, would you outline for the court the basic facts of the case? Yes, sir. He doesn't seem very happy about it. The victim's name was Glenn Elk. He was a professional programmer. He was on the payroll of Blue Screens, Inc., a local company. This is the victim's autopsy report. And the court accepts this into evidence. You know, we should take a peek at the court record. We really don't have that much. We have the phony article. We have the sports paper that was talking about MC Bomber. We've got job listings. The lunch special that is disgusting. Jean's loan contract, he is $500,000 in debt. The scooter ridden by the phony. And now this one. Potassium cyanide poisoning. Time of death was between 1:30 and 2:30 p.m. Lovely. Here are the floor plans of the restaurant. When the incident took place, the victim was sitting right here. And the poisoned coffee was brought over to him by the waitress. The waitress being the accused. Yeah. The victim died from poisoning almost immediately after he took a sip of the coffee. At the time of the incident, there were 2 other people in the restaurant. Mr. Jean Armstrong, the owner and chef, and a regular by the name of Mr. Victor Kudo. Still seems to be a very straightforward case to me. Come, detective, take up this hammer, and nail the defendant's coffin shut with your own 2 hands. Now then, Detective Gumshoe, let's have your testimony. Yes, sir. This is not going to go well for Gumshoe, I feel. Or for us. When the incident took place, the victim was alone at his table, sir. We understand that the guy, Glenn Elk, was listening to the radio at the time. Traces of poison were found in his coffee cup. And what we found was potassium cyanide. That stuff really packs a punch. And, it looks like Miss Bird might have, some kind of a motive. Alright, I gotta get him talking about that motive. Using the dark, aromatic depths of coffee to conceal the poison. Classy lady. The facts of this case seem to be ironclad. Mr. Wright, I would ask that you begin your cross-examination, but, yes? Please, no intimidating tricks this time around. Is that understood? I already told you that wasn't me. So, the alone at the table thing is the problem, because Maggey keeps saying that she saw someone there. But I want to press for this motive. Because I want to bring up Jean's motive. Jean. Some kind of motive. Yeah, but if you ask me, it's been blown way out of proportion.
Objection!
You know what my golden rule is, detective. Check out a bad cup of coffee. You can always get another. Huh? I don't get it. I'm saying we can always get another witness on the stand if we have to chuck you out. So stick to the facts, detective. Now then, what was Miss Bird's motive? Come on, Gumshoe. They said she wanted to steal the lottery ticket. I knew it. That's what we heard yesterday, too. It disappeared from the scene of the crime. And it wasn't just any lottery tickets. It was a winning ticket for $500,000. Mr. Armstrong knew about the ticket too, didn't he? But he stole the wrong one. Then is it possible Maggey stole the winning one? What should I do? Should I press on this point a little harder or not? Always press harder. Wait a minute. The mere fact that the lottery ticket disappeared in no way implicates my client. Ha! I have here in my hand the very ticket in question. Oh no. Where was it? Dare I ask where it was found? That's the $500,000 lottery ticket. One of the female police officers found it when she was conducting a search of the defendant. What? Order! Ha. She's quite a lucky bird, our little waitress. You will submit that ticket as evidence to the court, immediately. I better keep an eye on that ticket. The way the judge's voice is quivering. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, that's not great. This ticket was presented in the court in the previous trial, too. But it feels heavier now, somehow. $500,000, you say? It's just a scrap of paper. What matters is where it was found, Your Honor. I bet he wants to say it was found on Maggie's person. You really think there are any contradictions in this testimony? To be honest, I don't know. But Gumshoe told us out in the lobby. He said we'd be forming a united front, right? How will we win the case if he doesn't throw us a line? I don't have a whole lot of options right now. The best I can do is gather the facts together, I guess. Okay, let's question, the victim being alone, because that was the other issue here. Can I stop you for just a minute? Huh? What is it? Did I say something that contradicts evidence? He's so desperate for that to be true, he's practically crying. Your testimony just now doesn't match the testimony given by Ms. Bird. She claims that there was another man at the victim's table. Yeah, that's what she said. And What killer wouldn't say that when faced with a homicide conviction? Hey! Sadly, her testimony isn't supported by the owner or the other customer. Isn't that right, Detective Gumshoe? Yeah, it's true. There are two testimonies to tie up on that. They both said there was no other guy at the table. What should I do? Should I press on this point a little harder or not? Yes, always. Desk slam. Well, maybe the other witnesses just missed him. Perhaps their view of the victim's table was obscured in some way. Ha. That argument is as weak as the coffee at Tribulations, trite. I have here in my possession a ticket. Another lottery ticket? Looks more like a photo to me. Yes, a one-way ticket to guilty. Population, the defendant. This is a photograph taken from near the entrance to the kitchen. This is the scene as witnessed by the chef moments after the poisoning took place. Oh, sorry, that was the judge talking. I think the court will agree that with such a clear view of the scene of the crime... How, Mr. Trite, could anyone have overlooked a second person at the table? This is going great. It certainly seems to show the victim's table extremely clearly. Cool. Let's just keep gathering facts, because I really can't do much. He was listening to the radio, you say? Yeah, he had a portable radio in his chest pocket. Maggey told us that too, didn't she? Something about how one of them had some sort of earpiece? What should I do? Should I press on this point a little harder or not? Yes, always. Why do you keep asking me? And what was it that the victim was listening to on the radio, Detective Gumshoe? Huh? How should I know? Thanks a lot. We're now one step closer to the middle of nowhere. This isn't going very well, is it? Detective, could you perhaps tell us about the poison and how it was used? Right, yes. Continue your testimony. So, traces of the poison were found in the coffee cup and nowhere else? Not sure I get you, pal. Was the poison a liquid, or was it a powder? If I had to put it in layman's terms, I'd say it was a powdery substance. So the poison could have been in anything that was on the table. Sugar, salt, pepper. Ha! Do you put salt and pepper in your coffee, Trite? The victim toast coffee black. No sugar. It seems that the poison could only have been in the coffee. Alright, let's press harder. Are you absolutely certain that the victim even drank any of his coffee? Huh? What do you mean? According to this file, the poison was found in the victim's coffee cup. But what proof is there that the victim ever drank any of it? Oh, hey, you're right. That's what I was thinking. In case you were wondering, that last objection was for the detective there. Huh? For me? Oh, hey, you're right. You may be fooling the court, but I'm not falling for it. If you have the time to waste, you have the time to present that piece of evidence. That piece, sir? Yes, that piece. What piece was it again? Careful, he might throw his coffee at you. Oh, yep, there it is. Wait, why did you throw it at me? Should I be grateful this coffee's only hot enough to give me first-degree burns? Oh, now I remember. This is the, victim's coffee cup. Yes, the victim's cup. Take a good look at the rim. Oh, yes, it's unmistakable. There's clearly a coffee stain on it. Conclusive proof that the victim did drink the poisoned coffee that was in this cup. The victim gulped down the bitter death that the waitress brought to him. Like this! Is that steaming hot? Yikes. For the record, the only prints on the cup were the victims and the defendants. Well, that's just grand. Thanks, Gumshoe. Okay. Upon further investigation of this cup, we found a certain chemical substance. That's enough. The facts of this case seem overwhelmingly clear to me. The defendant has an ample opportunity to commit the crime of which she is charged. Furthermore, it seems beyond reasonable doubt that she did indeed commit the crime. I like an old man who knows the score. There's also the matter of the $500,000 lottery ticket. That alone provides a very credible motive. I mean, for that sum of money, even I might be tempted to bend the rules. I don't mind an old man who is weak to the siren call of money. Not good, Nick. The evidence against Maggey is starting to pile up fast. Yeah, that's because the court has ruled guilty once already. I'd say it's about time to wrap up this repeat performance with one final decisive piece of evidence. He's got more evidence against Maggey. This is the apron the delightful Miss Byrne was wearing at the time. Wow, that's not the cleanest apron I've seen. That stain looks like it can't be blood, can it? Huh. Seems the star of our play was a little flustered. And somehow spilled coffee on herself. The coffee? That's not exactly the first thing that caught my eye. Of course, the coffee stain isn't the most interesting thing about this apron. No, there's something else that stands out even more. Something else, I presume you mean? Of course, I'm referring to the pocket. The pocket? A search carried out right after the incident uncovered this. Potassium cyanide, the very poison used by the killer, was in her apron pocket. A bottle of poison in Maggey's pocket. Yeah, and Maggey's prints were the only ones on it. What? Order! 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 The court will accept these items into evidence. There's something still bothering me, Mr. Godot. Why have you not explained the blood stain to the court? Blood stain. What blood stain would that be? Don't play games, prosecutor. The blood-colored stain that's smeared all over the apron. That's ridiculous. No one told me anything about a blood stain. You don't need to be told, just look at it. Well, detective, could this stain really be blood? No way, sir. It's just ketchup, sir. Ketchup? She must have gotten some on her apron while taking someone their breakfast that day. You could have spoken up a little sooner, Detective Gumshoe. put a stunt like that again, and I'll have you drink 17 cups of ketchup, witness. I thought everyone knew what it was already. I haven't seen anything yet to make me doubt the last verdict I ruled in this case. That's not good. The motive, the opportunity, and the supporting evidence. Let's take a look at our new evidence, by the way. Small pockets, but big stains. Yeah, this isn't good. They've all been clearly established. Well, Trite, it seems that you really are a phony after all. You really know how to drive a man nuts. Witness, please continue with your testimony. Describe for the court the crime scene and the findings of your investigation there. Ah, poor Gumshoe. He looks so upset. The crime was reported at 2:25 p.m. by a kind of scary old man, sir. Poor Maggey had passed out from the shock. It must have been real tough for her. The victim didn't have any identification on him, but we figured out who he was pretty quick, and then the investigation went smoothly. When Maggey was searched, we found the lottery ticket and the bottle of poison. And that was it. There's nothing else missing from the crime scene. Okay, that is a problem, too. You identified the victim and secured your prime suspect. Very good. Last chance to convince the court you're a real lawyer, Trite. Don't count on any more cross-examinations after this one. So let the fun begin. Great, thanks, Godot. Yeah, we don't need to talk about Victor. I'm not gonna dig into that. No identification. Okay, let's see here. He didn't have any? Are you saying that it was stolen, then? No, I don't think so. The victim didn't have a driver's license or even a credit card on him, pal. All he had was 58 cents in his wallet. 58 cents? Yeah, I can't believe I found someone with less in their wallet than me, pal. The victim sounds like he was a thoroughly miserable young man. Or some kind of outlaw. Why not give him a bit of an edge? I think I'm onto something here. Okay, how did you know who he was, then? Wait a sec. Huh? Did I say something dumb again? Let me paraphrase what you just testified to this court. The victim didn't have any form of ID on him. That's basically what you said, right? Yeah, basically. In that case, how were you able to identify the victim so quickly? Oh, that. He's so let down. He's got the whole sagging shoulders and puppy eyes thing going. And there was a prescription bag on the victim's table along with a lottery ticket. It seems Mr. Glenn Elg visited his doctor before he went to Tribulations. We got the victim's name from the medical records of the doc who prescribed the meds. That's a reliable enough source for the court. What should I do? Should I leave this alone or ask to hear more? Always ask. Okay. Ask about his health insurance? I don't know about that. We might do that later. The prescription bag. So what sort of medicine was in the bag? Well, actually, the bag we found was empty. Huh? Yeah, completely empty. It was completely empty. Aha! Ha! No, I say aha, Godot. You're entering an empty paper bag as evidence. Desperate, are you, Trite? Now what happened with the investigation after that, Detective? Okay, this is where it works. Lottery ticket was found on Maggey and the bottle of poison. Nothing else missing from the crime scene, but he just said this bag was empty. So, I beg to differ. Detective Gumshoe, I think I should point something out to you. There's just one small contradiction in your testimony. Oh, finally! I'm getting all anxious just waiting. So hurry up, will you? You testified that nothing else was missing from the crime scene. However, the prescription bag you mentioned was empty. Did the officers recover the medicine from the scene of the crime later? No, they didn't. The victim was given a prescription right before going to Tribulations. Where, then, did the medicine disappear to? You are too cool, pal! Why, thank you. I try. Indeed, due consideration wasn't given to the victim's prescription in the previous trial. Witness, why do you always overlook such vital pieces of evidence? I guess that's the most careless thing I've done so far, huh? The victim was killed by poison, and the victim's medicine mysteriously disappeared. The victim's own prescription could have been the lethal poison itself. Order. Well, Mr. Godot, what do you have to say to that? Ha. That's all. Well, you've been saying that a lot. Please, elaborate. What? Read for the court the name of the clinic on the prescription bag, if you will. What's the clinic's name got to do with anything? New ear... I'm not gonna... Yeah, that word. That... Otolaryngological. Otolaryngological. I've never had to read that word ever before. I'm not... No. Just what kind of an illness was the victim suffering from, Mr. Godot? Hardly an illness, Your Honor. More like a bitter war wound, you could say. A war wound? The day before the incident, Mr. Elg found himself in a fight. Of course he did. He took a blow to the side of the head and ruptured his eardrum. He ruptured his eardrum? What on earth was the prescription he was given? It was a cream that was to be applied topically inside his eardrum, not to be ingested. What? Well, there goes that. It's mentioned in the autopsy report. If you read the fine print, they found traces of the medication in the victim's left ear. Yes, here it is. The very, very fine print. It seems Mr. Elg correctly applied some of this medication while he was at Tribulations. Therefore, it would be absurd to believe that he had eaten his medication. It seems that this medication is irrelevant to the case after all. No. Nick! If you don't think of something quick, it'll all be over. She's right. But I can't get away with any weak objection. What should I do? Oh, now it's giving me a health bar. I gotta push it. Only moments ago, Mr. Godot made the following statement. It seems Mr. Elg correctly applied some of this medication while he was at Tribulations. If that's the case, then why was the medication not found at the scene of the crime? But the medication in question was for topical use inside the ear canal. That doesn't change the fact that it could not be found at the crime scene. However insignificant it may seem, it's a lawyer's duty to pursue the truth. You know as well as I do that the medication is irrelevant. It hardly seems likely that a prescription drug would contain potassium cyanide. It hardly seems likely that the coffee the waitress served would contain it either. But it did. The possibility is undeniable. Ooh, he's smoking now. That's enough. Mr. Godot, is the detective the only witness in that the prosecution wishes to call? Mr. Godot. I've got my own witness I'd like to call, sir. It's the old man who was there at the restaurant on the day of the murder. Victor Kudo, the pigeon hater? Very well. The matter of the disappearing medication seems little more than trivial at best. However, it wasn't explored at all in the previous trial, and that is something that bothers me. Yay! Good job, Nick! The court will adjourn for a 10-minute recess, after which we will hear the prosecution's next witness. Ha! I suppose this means I'll just have to finish you off in my last 6 cups. You've already had the first 11? The court is adjourned for recess. My computer is going nuts. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to record here. Alright. Phew. That was close. Tell me about it. I nearly died in there. That's my line, sir. No, it's my line. I think I really did die a little bit. It looks like we all nearly died in there. I can't believe Detective Gumshoe. How could he betray us like that? Huh? He said he'd help me. But he totally set me up. I don't think he meant to do that, Maggey. He was backed into a corner. I mean, the guy's got to do his job, right? It's okay. I know all about lies and betrayal. I've had them my whole life. But it really hurt this time. It felt like someone punched me hard in the stomach. I hate that guy. I don't ever want to see him again. Poor Gumshoe. So the next witness is going to be that old guy from the park, right? Yeah, Mr. Kudo. Lover of waitress outfits and projectile seeds. I bet he's going to be really stubborn. I mean, he's pretty set in his ways, you know? Yeah, he's a big old grouch. Are you going to be able to handle him, Nick? Yeah, I can take whatever he throws at me, even those never-ending bird seeds. Alright, Victor. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Maggey Bird. Mr. Godot, your next witness, please. The prosecution calls the lucky old-timer who caught the show over a cup of coffee. Will the witness please take the stand? I still haven't quite figured out Godot's voice, have I? Name and occupation, if you don't mind. Oh, I forget what I did for him. The name's Victor Kudo, born and bred in the land of the rising sun. Honor and duty are what make me, mind you. I can be quite emotional at times, too. We don't need to hear about that, Mr. Kudo. Just tell us the court your occupation. My occupation? Gah! Listen, youngin'. How much call do you think there is for a kimono embroidery here? Kimono embroidery? That's what I did back in Japan. I embroidered family crests on kimonos. I wonder what his thing was, because like I've said before, it's only in the US release that it is implied that we are in the States, but in the original Japanese, you're in Japan, so I wonder what his thing is, what his job used to be in good old Japan, or... Because he would be in... I don't even know. He wouldn't say back in Japan, surely. So I wonder what the translation difference is. My ancestors were embroidering kimonos before this country existed. Wow, a real craftsman. They're a dying breed. Hey, maybe he could embroider my costume sometime. Anyway, like I said, there's not much demand for that kind of thing here. So I had to take a job working the cash register at a burger joint, pretending to smile. That burger joint would have been better off putting him in the kitchen. Now then, witness, were you in the restaurant at the time of the incident? Oh yes, I was eating some seeds over a cup of Javicino. Seeds? What do you think these are, I see. So you saw everything that happened, Gramps? Did I? Oh yes. Oh yes, I did. I saw it all. Then please, tell the court. We're all ears. Sure. I'll tell you. I'll tell you every last detail. He's really getting into this. The young man was reading the sports paper. The serving girl brought him a Javicino, but she put something in it. The man took one sip of it, looked like he was in terrible pain, and then collapsed. That's the serving girl, right there in the defendant's chair. I remember her well. Mr. Kudo, she is not a serving girl. Please refer to her as a waitress. Gah! You're as bad as the rest of them. All these newfangled words. What's wrong with the old-fashioned ones, Newfangled? All this talk of radios and glasses. It's wireless and spectacles, I tell you. Excuse me? Listen to me, everyone. Don't forget the old values. Don't let the good old days slip away. Well, I think it's time to begin the cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. We need some more details. Young man was reading the sports paper. Serving girl brought him a cappuccino, but she put something in it. Yeah, that's a problem. Mr. Kudo, that is a very grave accusation. Are you sure about what you saw? Victor Kudo never makes mistakes. I dot every T and cross every I. I see. My eyesight's fine. The doctor said I only need spectacles for reading and driving. I bet his eyes are only really fine when he's scoping out a waitress. And I saw what the serving girl put in the cappuccino as well. But I know what's coming up, and something tells me I'm not going to like it. But always press harder. Your Honor, we need more clarification on what was put into the victim's coffee. I'd like to ask the witness to add what he knows about this to his testimony. I agree. Witness, will you enlighten us, please? Sure. Very conspicuously put some white powder in there. Wonderful. Perfect. Fantastic. Did she really put that into the coffee? You doubt me, boy? She took some out of a small brown bottle and sprinkled it in. Couldn't she have been adding sugar? Sugar! In a small brown bottle like that? Like that. Witness, could you please describe the bottle in more concrete terms? Ha. A bottle like this, perhaps. Oh, there it is. That's the one. That's the bottle of potassium cyanide, I presume. So what did the accused put into the coffee? I think it's clear, don't you? Yeah. Great. Cool. Did the autopsy say anything about how sudden the death was? Nope. I don't like this. You said I remember her well in reference to the waitress. Did she have any particular features that you can identify her by? Particular features? It's a disgrace, that's what it is. Sorry. You can see all the way up to her, you know. She's practically naked in that uniform. So the particular feature you recognize about the waitress is her outfit? But anyone could wear just such a uniform, even me. Mr. Wright, please spare the court any further mental anguish from that image. Don't get all excited, Nick. You've got to keep yourself together. I guess I got a bit carried away. Gah! There are other things I recognize about her, too. He seems pretty sure of himself. What should I do? Always press harder. Sure, you saw a waitress take the coffee over to her victim. But what matters is whether that waitress was Maggey Bird or not. Quite right. Mr. Kudo, these other features that you recognize about the defendant, I would ask you to add them to your testimony. Sure. There's a ribbon in her hair, and her apron straps were loose. That's hardly features that really specify a person. You do seem to remember several details about her appearance, but what about the most crucial detail of all? Her face? As if I wouldn't remember that.
Objection!
The witness noticed the straps on the accused apron. He is unlikely to make a mistake about her face. That's right! I can even tell you the color of the ribbon that was in her hair. It was red. So you see, there's nothing wrong with the witness's eyesight. There's no doubt he remembers the waitress pretty well. What should I do? I get the feeling there's something more to this somehow. The straps were loose. Her ribbon was red. The back of the wait. What would the back tell me? Sure. The identifying features you described are all things you would see from the back. So what? Is it possible that you never saw the waitress from the front at all?
Objection!
Ha! He's got you there, Gramps. People normally talk about facial features when they're asked to describe someone, but this witness's testimony is nothing but straps and ribbons. This is harassment! I tell you I'm not obsessed with straps or ribbons! I'm just telling you what I saw. Mr. Kudo, the court requests that you add details about any identifying features. Features you observed from the front, that is, to your testimony? Sure. This old man's testimony is getting longer and longer. If If I can't find a hole in it soon, it'll get even longer, I bet. There wasn't anything that caught my interest about her when I saw her from the front. Really? Ladies and gentlemen, I feel that we just found something that was rather interesting from the front. Mr. Kudo, I would like you to please take a look at this. Ha! Filthy thing would suit filth like you just perfectly. Actually, it reminds me of what my grandson looks like just after he's done eating. Have you ever seen this before? Of course I haven't. Do you think I'd forget something as dirty as that, Well, you half-witted clot. Triumphant smirk. Shocked expression. Silent courthouse. What? What is it? Ever since I said you half-witted clot, there's been an eerie silence in here. Mr. Kudo, this apron is the apron worn by the defendant on the day of the poisoning. Huh? And as you just said yourself, you wouldn't forget something like this. Which means if you had really seen this apron before... Yes, you know what I'm getting at. You couldn't have possibly seen the waitress from the front. Oops. Oops. Witness! You can't just oops your way out of this! Exactly! Ha. Well, well. Looks like we finally have a genuine trial on our hands. Yay, I'm not a phony anymore. Thanks, Godot. That's such a compliment. Listen, trite. Here are the facts. On the day of the incident, there was only one waitress in the restaurant. That being the defendant, Miss Maggey Bird. Exactly. And when that one waitress put the poison in the coffee cup, this old guy was watching. I hope you understand the gravity of the situation, Mr. Kudo. The fate of the defendant may rest on what you say you remember seeing. Just tell the court exactly what you saw, Gramps. You can rely on me, Captain. My noggin's in perfect working order. I can't remember a single occasion when I forgot what burger a customer wanted. He can't remember? Probably more like he messed up so many times he's blocking it out. Very well, let's just test how good your memory is, and attention... Wow, I totally read that wrong. Very well, let's test just how good your memory and attention to detail is, Mr. Kudo, and tell us what you remember about the victim. He was another one of those pesky young types wearing a broken pair of spectacles. He had a newspaper in his right hand, and a noisy brat kept rustling its pages. The young man was listening to the wireless. I remember that well. And then the serving girl in the question brought over the cappuccino. Little Fidget picked up the cup with his free hand and took a sip. The testimony we have just heard was to test how credible the witness's memory is. It seems to me that he remembers the victim in a great deal of detail. Oh yes, I hate those you-know-what types that are so vague about everything. How are we going to handle this, Nick? We only need to do one thing. We just need to prove that the old man's memory is shot. Just trip him up, you mean? Isn't that kind of cruel? I suppose, but it's what I do best. Be mean to the witnesses. That's what I do best. Oh, let's see. Broken pair of spectacles, huh? What's that supposed to mean? Spectacles? Dark glasses to you. One of those lenses was green, but the other was broken. Newfangled rubbish, that's what I remember him so well. He did have some kind of lens over the left eye. But I wouldn't have called it a pair of glasses. Seems to have been wearing some rather modern-looking shades. Perhaps I should take to wearing some, and rival Mr. Godot's sharp appearance. Ha! We better come up with something sharp and quick. Guess I'll wait and see if I should challenge him about the spectacles. Newspaper in his right hand, and was rustling its pages. Okay, I really don't think that that's important. Young man was listening to the wireless. I remember that well. Right, Maggey testified to as much. The wireless? The decadent young rascal. In my day, it was one or the other. Read the paper or listen to the wireless. Oh boy. And using an earpiece? It's selfish, that's what it is. I was straining my ears, but I couldn't catch any of it. Was he that desperate to listen to the radio? What are you looking at me like that for? How dare you feel sorry for me? Ow! So that wasn't helpful. Staring girl brought over the cappuccino. Little Fidget picked up the cup with his free hand and took a sip. His free hand. Yes. Which hand was that? Weren't you listening before? I said he was wrestling the newspaper with his right hand, didn't I? His free hand wasn't his right hand, then which hand was it, you moron? Ow! Huh. Perhaps the great Mr. Trite has 3 hands. Yeesh. I was only asking. No need to gang up on me and treat me like a freak. The whole point of this cross-examination is to establish just one thing. This old guy's memory has more holes than a slice of Swiss. I guess we just need to find a contradiction in his testimony somewhere, huh? Anything will do. Even the smallest detail. We just need one mistake and he's ours. Alright, so our evidence that we recently got is pretty important. Here. 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 And that's back to me. Of course, I remember the case, so I know what's going on. Let me check this photo real quick. Interesting. Okay. Cool. Alright. So, I'm going to have a problem with that. Mr. Kudo, do you remember what you were told at the start of this testimony? That this was a way of testing the credibility of your memory? I know. There's nothing wrong with my memory. I tell you nothing. I think I've changed his voice throughout this entire testimony. If I got anything wrong, I'll eat these seeds and sing the pigeon song. Care to tell us where this is going, Trite? According to Mr. Kudo, the victim was holding the paper in his right hand, while drinking coffee with his free hand, which would make that his left. Ah! What is this? Kindergarten? But I would like the court to please take a look at this. That's the cup the victim used, correct? Yes, and on the rim, you'll notice the mark left by the victim's lips. Yes, there is a stain left by the coffee. If you consider where that stain is, you'll clearly see that the victim was holding the cup with his right hand. But how? Well, Mr. Kudo, the court is waiting for your epic performance. You said you'd eat those seeds and sing the pigeon song. Ah! Mr. Kudo, I'm afraid this is simply not acceptable. I think the witness had better go back to the park where he came from. Wait! If you think I'm going to stand here and listen to you tell me I'm mad, you're wrong. I don't care about that dirty coffee cup. I know what I saw. You still insist on your testimony? That young brat was holding the cup in his left hand? Oh, yes, no question. I'm a good, law-abiding citizen, I am. It's dead young hotbot and you spiky-haired yahoo, who are at fault. Who, me? Thank you, old man. We've heard quite enough from you already. Don't call me old man, Been around for 68 years, I have. You can't ignore me. Listen to what I've got to say. I'm sorry, Mr. Kudo, but... Sure, why not hear a little more? Mr. Godot. But this is my 16th cup of coffee, so this is your final stand. Thank you, Captain. You can rely on Victor. Boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. He kept fiddling with it all the time. He was fiddling with it just before he picked up the cup, too. And then he used the same hand to pick up the cup, his left hand. We know that the victim was wearing an unusual monocle over his left eye. It wasn't a monocle, Your Honor. It was a small computer monitor often used by programmers. A monitor? You mean like a television screen? The inside of the lens is a screen that displays computer data. It's called an HMD. It's a common tool in the victim's line of work. HD, TV, DVD, CD, all these newfangled letters drive me mad. But they don't matter. I know what I saw and I'm telling the truth. That's true. He doesn't seem to be lying. And those are the facts, the good old black and white. So let's break it down, shall we? Okay, so the argument is that it wasn't his left hand. Right? Wait a second. Didn't we hear something about the medicine applied to his ear? Do we not have evidence on that? I guess we're gonna have to press things. So the victim was wearing an HMD. HDTV, CD, DVD, what does it matter? It was none of them, actually, but anyway. And you're sure that he was wearing the earpiece on the same side? No question, I could only see that side of his head from where I was sitting. Yeah, that's pretty obvious if you look at the floor plans. From the opposite table, he'd only have a view of the side of the victim's head. It seems you kept an eye on Mr. Glenelg. He was getting on my nerves, rustling that newspaper and fiddling with his earpiece all the time. And then he went and made all the fuss, dying from one sip of Havicino. I wanted to say to him, calm down, you young brat. Just looking at him made me suddenly speed up my seed eating. I could have choked. So I take it the victim was a walking ball of nervous energy. The earpiece you mentioned, which hand did the victim touch it with? You're one of those people. One of those people who uses his left hand to get things out of his right pocket. Or fastens his left cuff with his right hand. And when the tour guide says, on your right side, you'll see the famous blah blah, you're the only one who deliberately looks left, well, aren't you? No, I didn't mean. Obviously, he used the hand on the same side of his body that the earpiece was in. Ow! So if he had the HMD on the left side, then it was his left hand, I guess. And then he used the same hand to pick up the cup, his left hand, which we've already proven could not possibly be. You seem very sure of yourself, Mr. Kudo. That's because I know what I saw, no matter what tricks you try to play on me. Looks like you really did see the guy picking up the cup with his left hand. This is a dead end. Well, Nick, what do you think? I think this guy's telling the truth. But even so, something's not quite right. Then chuck evidence at him until he breaks! If he's not lying, there wouldn't be any contradictions in his testimony, right? Yeah, but there are, and I need to figure out how to prove it. Okay. Whoops. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Ding, ding, ding. Alright. Wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens was fixed. I guess I can just present the bag. Yeah, okay. I was like, I don't have the evidence for it. It's not stated. I'm not sure what the relevance of this is, but... Mr. Kudo, there is something very strange about your observations of the victim. What? You say he was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the HMD. No question, you can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear, without a doubt. I could only see that side of his head from where I was sitting. I don't think so. What did you say? You're no doubt unaware of this fact, Mr. Kudo, but the victim couldn't hear with his left ear. His eardrum was ruptured. Traces of medication for his condition were found in his ear canal. That's right, it's impossible that the victim was wearing his earpiece in his left ear, because he couldn't even hear in that ear. Is that true, Captain? It is. Pigeon! Pretty pigeon. I think we might have broken him. Order. This witness's testimony is completely unreliable. He only saw the waitress from behind. And he claims the victim was wearing an earpiece when we know his eardrum was ruptured. Well, Mr. Godot? A single drop of milk is all it takes to destroy the pure black magic in the cup. This old man is my drop of milk. Captain, are you calling me a drip? This is the victim's coffee cup, which the potassium cyanide was found. The mark on the rim clearly shows that the victim picked up with his right hand. I'll never back down. I know I'm right. The lad drank his cappuccino with his left hand. Let me put you out of your misery. Clearly, the victim used both hands. He took a sip of the cup, held it in his right hand, and then switched to his left. And that's what the old man saw. I didn't think so. Impossible. The witness has already testified on numerous occasions that the victim died immediately after taking just one sip of the coffee. Which hand the victim used to pick up his cup is irrelevant, Your Honor. The fact still stands. With one hand or the other, Mr. Elg drank the poisoned coffee. Like this! Sadly, Mr. Godot, that doesn't wash. The point of this testimony was to establish whether the witness's memory was credible. And the results are clear. The testimony given by this witness is useless. I believe it is time to conclude today's proceedings. I'm satisfied that the witness is not deceiving the court. But to be frank, his testimony is a farce. Did you have to be so frank? Take that, you pompous old fogey! I'm sorry, Mr. Kudo. You can't reach me from there. I'm ordering the defense and the prosecution to investigate this case further, and that is all for now. The court is adjourned. Wait! If we stop now, where does that leave me? Leave you, Mr. Kudo? Thanks to that blue-suited young upstart over there. I'm just a bumbling old man who can't even dot his T's or cross his I's now. How is your bad memory my fault? I'm sorry, Mr. Kudo, but there's nothing I can do. I've kept my mouth shut until now. But there's something else the court should know. What? There's more. To be perfectly honest, it might not be anything. But I want another chance. I want another crack at you, you young shark. You talking to me? Me? He's looking at me like I'm some sort of evil shogun. Well, everyone, what do you say to one final showdown? The final chapter in this eccentric old man's scrapbook. Sorry, Gramps. I've already had my 17th cup of coffee. Yeah, you chugged it down, man. What have you got to lose, Captain? I'll give you all the coffee if you want to come to my house after the trial. I may be 68 years old, but Victor Kudo is still a man. That's enough, witness. I believe it will be quicker for the court to just hear your testimony. You bet! Much, much quicker. I can't believe this is happening. Ha ha ha! You better get ready, youngster. I get the picture. Just quit throwing these seeds at me, would you? He's got to be using some sort of infinite ammo code with that box of seeds. It's the final showdown. First of all, I want to stress that this might be nothing. I'm not too sure myself. The young boy slumped over his table as soon as he took one sip of his cappuccino. Well, clumsy idiot upset the vase. He knocked it right over. It broke, and the strip of cloth covering the table got completely soaked. Well, how about that? Turn things upside down, Is that all? Yes, that's all. I remember it perfectly. Was there a vase? Oh, Victor. I don't know what to tell you, buddy, but it looks fine. It looks perfectly intact. I'm sorry. You're doubting me again? You're doubting a poor, defenseless old man. No, you're not doubting you, Mr. Kudo. Don't you get the feeling there's a question hanging on everyone's lips, Nick? Yeah. So what? Probably. That's all I can think of, and I have to cross-examine this guy. You're a bird brain, that's all you can think of. Very well. Mr. Wright, your final cross-examination, please. I'll make this fast. Mr. Kudo, this is a photograph of the crime scene. So what? Look carefully at the table. The vase is there, intact. Huh? Lost your tongue, Granddad? I'm no granddad of yours, hopscotch. Ow! Enough. If you throw any more seeds in this courtroom, the cleaners will be here all night. What is it now? I just remembered something. Yes, go on. The broken vase. It was on my table. Well, you see, it startled me when that young lad collapsed, so I stood up. That must have been when it fell over. The vase on my table, I mean. The vase on your table. Yes, it was on my table. And that's how my groin came to be completely soaked. You are so not helping this case, buddy. You have nothing new to add, nothing more to say. Let's go and investigate, shall we? Please end the trial. Thank you, Mr. Kudo. You've certainly earned your kudos for today. I'd like to ask a question now. Have I been any use at all? Perhaps that's something you should reflect on yourself, Mr. Kudo. Wait a minute. If that's the case, there's more. I've got more to say. Oh yes, I remember something else. Bailiff, escort the witness out of the courtroom. Wait, listen to me! Well, you seem to have been considerably sidetracked. And I am still not in a position to deliver a verdict. The defendant has not been positively identified as the waitress in question. Additionally, there are 2 disparities in the testimony we have heard thus far. The mark on the coffee cup that the victim supposedly drank from with his left hand, and the earpiece, which was inserted into his left ear, out of which he couldn't hear. Wow, Nick, you did it! Therefore require both the defense and the prosecution to further investigate the facts. Yes, Your Honor. There's one more thing before I call today's session to an end. One more thing, Your Honor. The witness we just heard from, he is most insistent that his testimony should be of use, so he summarized it accordingly into this statement. Okay. You may each have a copy of it, if you wish. Whatever. The prosecution doesn't need props like that. Godot's really mad, huh? Yeah, I would be too. Very well. Here you are then, Mr. Wright. There are 3 copies. My own, yours, and Mr. Godot's. Yes, Your Honor. I'm sorry. This isn't a piece of testimony, more like a 5-year-old's apology. When the incident occurred, I broke the vase at my seat. I'm sorry. I'm sure that'll come in handy at some point. What the heck are we supposed to do with 3 copies? That is all. This court is adjourned. Well, that was interesting. First part of the trial done. I guess we've got some more investigating to do, and then we'll try to get things done a little easier next time. So, investigation after the trial, as always. After the day 1 trial, as always. And then on to day 2, and we'll see what we have to do from there. Victor Kudo, ladies and gentlemen, he's an interesting one. Also, I'm sorry, I think I changed his voice like 6 times while I was recording. Speaking of my recording, hopefully all went well and stayed intact. And hopefully everything goes smoothly for the next part. I will talk to you guys then.